So we'll get 16 squares out of this at 40 milligrams per square.
2 tablespoons coconut oil, 2 tablespoons butter, 4 cups cereal, 3.5 cups mini marshmallows, and 1 gram of rosin. Let's get ready. Hey guys, welcome back to Growing at the Beach. Today we're going to do an edibles episode. We're going to make some cereal bars. Usually I like to use Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops. I mean, you can use any cereal you want. Get creative with it. Make it your own. I've been craving peanut butter a lot lately, so I saw these and thought, boom, let's do the Reeses Puffs. So first thing first, you want to get one of those rectangular silicone mats. You want to put that down on a cookie sheet. Then on top of that, you want to put your silicone containers with your rosin in them. We're going to decarb the rosin at 240 degrees in the oven for 35 minutes. From there, what you're going to want to do is get a plate. You want to take your silicone mat and put it on the plate, and then go ahead and just dump your rosin into one puddle on there and stick that plate into the freezer. That's going to allow the rosin to harden up a bit in order for you to collect it. So once the rosin is hardened, go ahead and pull it out of the freezer. Just kind of take your fork and literally just touch a little bit of the fork onto the rosin, and it'll come right up, and you can just roll it around the fork like I did here. Right after that, I went ahead and set up a double boil setup. Just a big pot filled with water, boiling, or starting to boil, with another smaller pot inside of it. And inside that pot, I put, I believe, yes, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. So after that's warmed up a bit, you want to go ahead and take your fork and mix it into the warmed up coconut oil. And basically, you're just trying to dissolve it in there. It only takes about 30 seconds. Just keep mixing with the fork until you don't see any more clumps and everything seems to be dissolved evenly. Okay, so now we got our rosin infused coconut oil. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to set up the stove. So we come over to the stove. You want to get a really big pan. Throw 2 tablespoons of butter into that pan, and you want the heat to be on really low. Notice that here I have the stove on the 2 setting. It's a gas stove, so it's not going to get really hot. Just warm, basically. You just want to melt that butter. After the butter melts, just add your coconut oil that's been infused with rosin into there and stir that all together. And remember, we're on a really low heat here, so we're just slowly stirring these two together. This only takes about 45 seconds to a minute. Once we have that stirred together, we're going to grab our marshmallows. Now, I like to have a little marshmallowier cereal treat. So what I do is I go about 4 cups of marshmallows to about 3.5 cups of cereal. And you just want to dump your marshmallows in here. And remember, this is going to take a while. This is the part that's the most labor intensive. You're just stirring, stirring, stirring. It doesn't look like anything's happening. Do not turn up the heat. Trust me, just leave it on 2. Just keep stirring consistently. You'll notice that the marshmallows and the oil is starting to infuse. So just keep it on 2, like I said. You'll see here that it's not completely infused, but it's getting there. Stirring, stirring, stirring. This wears out your arm. My arm was super tired after this. Pretty consistent that happens when we make these. After that, you're going to dump your cereal in. Now that the oil has been completely infused into the marshmallows, we dump our cereal in and we stir that up super fast. From there, we want to take a pan that we've already lined with parchment paper, and we want to grab our cereal and our marshmallow mix and just dump that into that pan. From here, you want to use I like a silicone spatula to kind of evenly distribute the cereal bars throughout the pan. It'll start to harden up here, so it'll get harder to do. So sometimes you have to use 2 hands just to kind of press down to evenly push out the cereal bar treats all the way to the corners, just so you get an even full square when you go to cut these. You're not getting one that's super thin and one that's super thick. So yeah, that's it. So you want to put them in the freezer after that. And for about 30 minutes in the freezer, you can just pull that parchment paper right out of the pan. And here's where I like to cut them. I like to go cut them in half, and then half again, to the point of where I get 16 squares. When you're storing these, what you want to do is put down some parchment paper in little pieces of parchment paper underneath each one and on top of each one. That way they're not like sticking together or sticking to the container. That's just the best way that I've found to store them. So just to be clear, guys, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of cannabis infused oil. I used rosin on this one. 2 tablespoons of butter, 4 cups of marshmallows. I like to use the mini marshmallows. They melt a lot faster and a lot more evenly. And 3.5 cups of any cereal of your choosing. Again, a super simple recipe. I think you guys are gonna love it. I didn't make these until late night, and man, when I woke up this morning, I was still very, very, very medicated. So, hey, that's it, guys. Hey, drop a comment. Tell me what kind of cereal you're gonna run with. As far as storage, we just keep them inside of a Tupperware here, put them in the refrigerator. They last a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks. Usually in my house, they don't last longer than a week or a week and a half. I usually give them all away or eat them myself before anything is gonna go bad. Not to worry, no edibles going bad on my watch. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I really want to thank everybody for checking it out. And that's it. Peace out, Grommies.